Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the FEG PC NASCAR Oval Series. I am your host, Gareth McAllister, with Team Goon Squad bringing you the action 1080p 60 FPS as we welcome you to Darlington Raceway this evening. I'd like to welcome all the fans once again coming to the show tonight in the spectator area as we've just wrapped up qualifying and we run the grid here. Starting on pole, we have Jeremy Harrington. Starting in second place, we have Stephen Page. Third, we have Derek Fulton. Fourth, John Below. Fifth, we have Jay Dargett. Sixth, we have Chad Ross. Seventh, John Mullahan. Eighth, Dalton McKenney. Ninth, Shane P. Davis. Ryan Fascinato in 10th. 11th, Corey Stahl. Adam Sheen in 12th. 13th, David Stryker. Cortina, Roger Hale. Christopher Carter, Eric Parks. Jeffrey Radke, William K. Price. James Kaufman in the top 20. Jeremy Paris. Craig Lewis in 21-22. Michael Brisson in 23rd. Wally Babb in 24th. Bryant Rick in 25th. Jordan Darnell, Eddie Hawkes, Chris Davis, Joe Coburn, Chadwick Denton, Mark McFadden, Kenneth McCullough Jr., and Dennis Black rounding out your 33-car grid. Massive grid. Almost couldn't get through it all in time. As we get to racing, here we go. They start. Harrington gets a nice lead out in front of Page. Page trying to keep with him. Looks like Baloo is going to get in front of Fulton here for third position. Already 4-car breakaway. It's only been turn 1. Fantastic stuff from the get-go. It's got Harrington, Page, Below, Fulton making your top 4 spots. As they do have a little bit of a gap just behind them to Jay Dargett. But Dargett is looking like he's going to make his way up there as well, as Chad Ross is getting left behind a little bit there, as the gap starts to widen a little bit. As it looks like there's a battle for the lead already taking place. Balloon made his way up into second. Almost thought he was going to take run past 2 vehicles there in just the single corner. Not quite able to do it though, as he falls back in line behind Jeremy Harrington. At quite the interesting lines, but I guess that's to be expected from this track here at Darlington, as Below makes the pass to the inside. Harrington not wanting to be caught up in anything early on, letting him through, and perhaps hoping the favour be returned later on in this race. As I should also mention, this is segment 3, the opening race of the FEG PC NASCAR Oval Series. As you can see, the field sort of packing up as Stephen Page is looking like he's going to go around Jeremy Harrington. I say around to the inside, diving it underneath, gets it done. Harrington has to check up quite a bit. Fulton looked like he thought about making the move there as well. Nothing doing though, as we have Chevrolet, your top 3, and Fulton making up the Toyota, the lone Toyota in a sea, an absolute sea of Chevrolets here. Chevrolet all the way from 1st to 11th, followed by your first Ford, which will now just make his way into 11th, which will be Adam Shane. As we'll go slightly further back up front. Looks like Harrington is still under fire here. Had a massive run from the get-go, but it seems like time management is really falling maybe into his wheelhouse here, not wanting to go through a lot of that tire wear too early on. It's a big 135 lap event. Darlington here, 1.36 mile oval. I believe the second oldest circuit on the NASCAR calendar. And a very famous infield museum as well to the inside. So after the race, I'm sure the spectators would like to check that out. And I highly recommend going and visiting. As we see Jeremy Harrington still under fire, this time from Dargett. Dargett's going to make that one stick. Very calm and collected, looks like most of this field. Not a whole lot in the way of accidents, which is definitely something that we all not only expect, but we like to see. And I say expect, meaning that these drivers are absolutely phenomenal from what we have witnessed in the past. Very clean action, long green flag runs, and all the more interesting as to making sure that tyre management is the key here, as these long green flag runs will chew up those tyres quick smart. Now we did hear from a couple of the drivers beforehand in the drivers meeting that it gets a bit slick. Gets a bit slick around, I believe, turn 2 and turn 4 coming out of the corners. I think turn 2 especially, because there's a little bump there towards the outside of the corner, as you'll see them crest the hill as they're getting the power on. So the rear tires won't have as much grip as they're used to. As you can see, just a tiny bit of a bobble from some of these drivers. As we go back a little bit, we can see Eric Parks trying to get around Corey Stahl. Eric Parks had a very good showing in practice, not quite able to make it stick as well in the qualifying part of this one. But looking very racy as Fascinato looks like he got stuck a little bit on the high side, but coming down to do the old blockaroo. As Parks says, nope, I want it. Here he comes to the inside. Nope, they thought better of it. Potentially a smart move. Lap 12 out of 135. Still a long way to go in this one. As this time Parks is going to make the move and make it stick. As Fascinato gets stuck on the high side. Adam Shane is going to follow him through. Also, Christopher Carter is going to follow him through as well. And Jeremy Paris as well in that massive group that got around Fascinato for him getting stuck in the high side. Unfortunate for Ryland there. As we see him trying to make his way back around Jeremy Paris. And not leaving him enough room. Good to see. I was thinking he might pull the squeeze on him. But Paris being left enough room and respectively gets it back, but also gets slightly into the wall as Radke's looking like he's going to take that position due to that small bubble there. And yes, he goes around. Up front, John Barlow has made his way up into a second gap over Derek Fulton. As I say that, here comes the caution. So we have what looks like it's going to be just getting into the wall, and yep, that's very, very unfortunate there. That's going to be Joe Coburn and Mark McFadden, and they will unfortunately just get together. Very unfortunate for McFadden to get caught up in that one, as Coburn looked like he just got a little bit too eager on the throttle and came up into the wall. Get one more quick look at that one. Camera angle. Much nicer. Yeah, he's just a bit on the high side. Oh, I say nicer, and there's a billboard in the way. And yeah, McFadden just nowhere to go. Just gets collected in that one. Alright, as we have several drivers coming down pit road already for a lap 16 stop very early on. Quite a bit of strategy potentially being played. Maybe just getting a feel for the vehicle. These trucks certainly heavy, and they're making their way around quite quickly. As the drivers make their way down pit road, you can see them coming in to serve their stop. Anthony Cortina looks like he is going to stay out and be the only one to do so. I think he is. So that will definitely have some interest coming around. As I like to bring up the tower during the caution flag so that you can see quite a bit more clearly, I believe so, as to where your current favorite driver is out on track. Please let us know who you're cheering on and we will spotlight that driver for you to the best of my ability. Cortina definitely looked like they definitely stayed out up 13 positions due to staying out on that caution. On below, filing in suit behind. As these drivers started with 65% fuel, so 100% not able to make it all the way without a fuel stop. There are no fast repairs on these trucks. So the accident we saw earlier with Joe Coburn and McFadden, unfortunately, they will have to get their pit crews up and working. Get them to earn their money's worth, putting some duct tape all over the front of those machines. Big setup, so it's all down to the driver's skill. And we are going to have two potential green-white checkered events for this evening. Which means that if there is a white flag coming out while we are under caution, we will rack them back up and go again and try to make it to another white flag under green-white caution, green-white checkered conditions. And do that one more time after that if necessary to then make it to the end and hopefully finish this one under green with a nice fight to the finish. But if not, then we will finish under caution. I must say I do enjoy the Nascar way of doing those green-white checkers. I think that's a fantastic idea, and I applaud them for pushing issue with making that possible to keep the excitement up, because it 100% does, as we have a look at Anthony Cortina, followed by John Ballou on the inside line, Derek Fulton and Jeremy Harrington in third and fourth, John Mullahan and Dalton McKenney starting in fifth and sixth in your third row. Lots and lots of trucks. You can see them fanning out all the way back, almost encompassing the entire straightaway, even bunched up like this. So huge grid. As we said earlier, 33 drivers as we get ready to unleash thousands of horsepower once again. There it is. Anthony Cortina gets a nice start. John Below filing in onto the high side already. Derek Fulton coming in, taking over from Jeremy Harrington. He's going to stay in fourth. Below goes straight down. I'm assuming tyres were definitely a factor there, as we see Cortina already slip back to fourth position. Fifth position now. He is dropping like a fly after it's just been sprayed. As he goes down, potential three wide action. as Eric Parks and Dalton McKenny go around Cortina as well. Parks trying to take advantage of all of that madness, and he does so. Fantastic stuff. Christopher Carter now getting involved after Chad Ross has also passed. Cortina not looking like he is in a very comfortable position with all of these fast drivers behind him. As we will go back up front, it looked like Harrington was getting under fire or seeing fire in his eyes himself, as Fulton is in the way of Harrington, and Harrington, as we all know, likes to get it going, and there it is. Fulton gets loose, gets up into the wall, and that's going to allow Molahan to come past as well. Fantastic stuff here, as Parks is also looking like he's thinking about getting involved in this one. And behind him, Ross is looking very racy. Didn't see much of him earlier on, but he definitely looks like he has some speed in that truck. As Fulton is still under fire by Eric Parks here. High side, low side, trying to make it stick. The corners around Darlington Raceway, so tricky to navigate. And the two corners in 1 and 2, completely different from the corners in 3 and 4. Can mean that it's quite tricky to get it dialed in, and choosing which lane you want and trying to be consistent here can be a very difficult task indeed. So it looks like Molahan has, not sure if he had a bit of a bobble, or these two, Fulton and Parks that is, have just been so quick, but they have really reeled in Molahan, Harrington, and below. As I say that, Parks unfortunately slips back slightly, might have had a bobble. Fulton and Molahan going at it now. Harrington just in front. Below has checked out. He is half a second in front. Checked out probably not being the right words, but definitely slightly ahead of this group here. As we see single file quite a way back. We're going to go back to Mark McFadden as he looks to make his way back up front from that being involved in that accident. As he looks like he was trying to get around Jay Dargett, which is why we switched to him, but not seemingly able to get it dialed in. Potential damage. We can see the damage on the tail end there where he smacked the wall. I'm sure on the front end as well where he hit the car. So definitely aero not his friend here, as David Stryker looking to the inside and going to make that one stick. Just behind them, Michael Brisson going around Jordan Darnell in the battle for 29th. Battles all across the circuit here. Very hard to keep track of everything as we go jump on board. Well, not on board, sorry. We're going to jump further up with John Molahan once again, as he is under fire from Derek Fulton still. And this is almost like a small breakaway pack up here at the front. I say small. I got to keep correcting myself. There's about 9 different trucks in this battle, I'd say, before there's a bit of a gap. So that would be below Harrington, Molahan, Fulton, Parks, Ross, McKenny, Carter. Radke is just slightly further away, but I'd still maybe consider him as part of this battle. As, ooh, there we go. Looks like Shane is going to get around Stahl for 10th position and make it into the top 10. There we go. And we have another caution coming out. We are showing us Joe Coburn, yep, getting involved, I believe. Oh no. Oh, that was actually disastrous. I didn't think it was going to be that bad. Oh. Well, that's the wrong button. So here we go. will follow along as the 24 comes underneath and just not quite sure if he was clear or not. Gets up into Coburn. That was going to be David Stryker, by the way. Coburn comes off the wall. Unfortunately, the 12 was coming round. That's Shane P. Davis. Didn't know that he was going to come off the wall like that. Obviously, Coburn had no choice, nowhere to go. And McFadden again trying to recover from his last accident. There's a small bang up the front. There's a little bang there. Bang, bang, bang-a-lang. Oh boy. Oh, and a nice little squeeze there for Jordan Darnell. Squeezing between that accident there. Drivers make their way down pit road. Dennis Black not going to be one of them. Fire saving definitely happening as Coburn comes back up. He looks like he's going to get the lucky dog and make his way around to get a lap back after that unfortunate incident there. No one at fault. Just a bit of a blind spot. We've all had that experience before, and it just happens to the best of us. So now it looks like Black might come down pit road, as he might have decided, hey, everyone else did, maybe I should. A little bit late now, but here he comes. As he was actually up 32 spots, so potentially he was a lap down and got the wave around, which is why he was able to pit in a couple laps after. Not entirely sure about that one. As we see these trucks trying to make their way out of pit lane before the pace car comes around, they can keep their laps together and stay on that lead lap. You can just tell from this still camera shot of just how many trucks there are in this field. Absolutely epic grid. The biggest grid I've ever had the pleasure of calling. So I highly appreciate the amount of action that is on track shown to me by these FEG PC boys. And Harrington has come in for a pit stop, so I almost wonder if he's just going a bit lower to save some fuel. Make his way around the track a little bit less distance than some of the guys behind him. So here at Darlington, I haven't mentioned it a whole lot yet, or at all, I don't think, but we have the famous Darlington Stripe, which a lot of these trucks we've seen already have, which is just when you rub against the wall, get some paint scraped off. That's the old famous Darlington Stripe that they like to talk about, and you are almost guaranteed to get it, whether you're starting all the way up front or all the way back in 33rd. You're almost certain that you're going to grab a little piece of that wall. Jeremy Harrington starting out front for this restart. John Mollahan next to him. Derek Fulton in third. Eric Parks in fourth in your second row. And Chad Ross and Adam Shane in your third row. Seen Harrington be absolutely phenomenal on the start of runs, but seemingly falling off the pace a few laps after. Potentially tyre saving is what we predict when he does do those sorts of moves, as he makes his way out, getting a nice run in front of Mollahan. Mollahan comes down to block from Fulton. Fulton comes up, Parks lets him in. Russ gets into fifth, Shane sixth. It's looking like it's fairly controlled here at the front. A little bit further back, that's going to be a side-by-side battle with Paris and Below. No, that's not. Below's in front. Fascinado and Paris, excuse me. Paris able to make that one stick. Paris up 11 spots into the 10th position at the moment. As we will go slightly further back, up front, because Dalton McKenny is trying to get around Christopher Carter. Doesn't make that work, actually falls below, and falls below. There you go. As we love a bit of rhyming up here in the broadcast booth, and I feel chuffed with myself for doing that. Anyway, we're going to get back to the action as Paris coming up as well, going to make that dive. McKenny has to give him the space unless they want to wad up both of their trucks, and does so. He's going to move the over-under. No, not able to make it happen. We were very excited to see an over-under event happen. Not quite able to make it stick for Dalton McKenny. Not the run that he wanted to get. As Paris is going to continue to work his way towards Christopher Carter. We have a little bit more of a battle going on further up front. It's going to be Adam Shane, John Below. Below is on rails. We've seen him do this before. Just seemingly comes out of nowhere and is just so much quicker than all the other trucks. As you see him get around Molahan there. These trucks are starting to come very close to each other. Christopher Carter also getting around Molahan. Shane goes side by side with McKenny, able to make that pass work. Molahan is getting hounded right now. Absolutely hounded by Paris, Shane, McKenny, Fascinato, Stahl. A whole lot of trucks, as we saw Below going for it again on the inside. We had to skip away from the battle back in around the 7th spot because we had to go back up front as Below makes his way around both Harrington and Ross. Ross also trying to make his way around Harrington as well to follow Below, and does so into 3rd and 4th positions. Below is able to get that thing dialed in something fast, as Parks has to relent and give Below that position as well. As you can see up front, Fulton has a giant gap of about 1.2 seconds, so not under fire from Below just yet, but with the laps that Below's been churning out, I wouldn't be surprised as he's about half a second faster almost than Derek Fulton, your race leader. Laps around here seemingly around about 30 seconds flat. As Below, we can just see the amount of gain that he is able to make up. Definitely no tire saving for him as he is rocketing through Fulton in his sights. We're going to continue to watch this one because Below is just on rails. Can't stress enough how hard it is to be that much faster. And he's seemingly able to make it work lap after lap. Right on the bumper now. He's going to make the pass on Fulton, and there it is. Gets his lap led at the line. Fantastic stuff from Below, able to make that truck out front. I just hope he hasn't used too much of his tyres up to stay out there and gain that position from Fulton, who I'm sure will be thinking, hey, if I just sit here and conserve my tyres for just a little bit, I should be able to pass Below all in due time. As they say, the tortoise beats the hare. A famous story, so we shall see if that ends up true or if the hare decides not to take a nap and manages to keep the pace rolling as we continue on. We're looking slightly further back. Chad Ross versus Jeremy Paris. Paris definitely making moves, as I believe he is going to be your biggest mover of the race so far, equal with Chadwick Denton, both up 16 positions from where they started. Jeremy Paris actually gained that last position on Chad Ross, just updated, so up 17 positions, mind you. So Jeremy Paris doing a fantastic job as Fulton looks like saving tyres maybe a little bit too much. Maybe just getting into the old Darlington wall as he's going to give that spot up to Paris as well as Parks up ahead. And Ross trying to come through and make it happen as well as Christopher Carter just behind. Carter might actually be thinking of using Fulton as a pick for Ross to make the move on both of them. Not quite able to make it stick as Ross goes down low to either block or make the move himself on Derek Fulton. They're going to go back a bit to Wally Babb. Struggling behind Stephen Page here. Down in 13th position. Wally Babb, you can see some damage on the front of his truck where he's been pushing someone. And looked like that was a very close battle. Babb now falling off the pace very slightly. As I say that, able to make it rocket through. Stephen Page hits the outside wall. And you can just see when you get that Darlington Stripe, it just slows you right down. Wally Babb able to make that pass look effortless due to the wall slap by Stephen Page as he tries to make his way up to Corey Stahl and Adam Shane as they go side by side. Shane has a bit of a bobble. You can see him turn left, turn right, trying to keep that truck underneath him. Wally Babb trying to see if he can make something happen with that. Nothing doing. As Stahl, it looks like, is going to make the move on Jeremy Harrington. Now, I'm certain Harrington must be saving tyres. As we've said before, he seems to have very good jumps off the start, very quick in the first few laps, and just seems to fade a little bit. So, I definitely think that he is saving his tyres. As it looks like Shane is looking to also make the pass on Harrington, take that 10th place away, and we will have another caution come out, our third caution of the night. That's showing up as Radke. Oh, and it looks, yep. Oh, that's really unfortunate. So the 15 car hits the wall, comes up in front of Radke after also getting caught by, I believe that might have been Coburn. And then also gets into the 11 of Craig Lewis. So that is certainly not what you want to see, as we will jump back up with Darnell. Or we won't, apparently. Not sure what's happened there. As we will go back live, but we saw the action as it unfolded in the play function there. David Stryker staying out. Interesting strategy play from him. As we saw Shane P. Davis make his way around the pace car, and he's going to get a lap back and I believe come back onto the lead lap. Yes, he will. Once again, shout out to all our friends, family, and sponsors out up in the spectator area as well as at home, maybe watching it back afterwards. We couldn't put on the show like this without your support, so we thank you highly. And I'm sure the drivers appreciate the full support of all those watching at home as well, as they put it all on the line, their ego, their pride, to see if they can make something happen in the FEG PC NASCAR Oval Series. As we watch the field come by. And we get them racked, stacked, and ready to roll once again. Some last minute touches, bit of repairs going on for a couple of these drivers. As the lights are out on the pace car, so we will run through the top 3 rows. David Stryker on the inside, John Below in second on the high side, Jeremy Paris and Christopher Carter third and fourth, and Dalton McKenney and Jeremy Harrington in 5th and 6th, your third row of the grid at current. It is the third restart of night. Well, it's after the third caution of the night. I guess it would be the 4th start, but third restart. Yeah, that's right. And we are on lap 52 of 135 as we get ready to go underway once again. Striker being patient. There he goes. Getting the jump on Below, trying to make him work to determine where the jump was going to come from. Striker doing a great job of staying out in front. Below we've seen have so much pace. Christopher Carter getting a huge run on the outside line. Below quickly stepping up to block that one from happening. As Below goes down, Striker blocks hard. Blocks, and more blocks as they fan out 4 wide. Harrington makes a daring move all the way down the apron, massively close to the inside wall, making it work. Christopher Carter getting stuck high on the outside line, getting a old Darlington Stripe, getting overtaken due to that fact by Parks, as well as Ross, as well as Fulton potentially trying the inside line. That's going to work. Chadwick Denton coming through McKenney as well. Carter's going to chill, I think, in 7th for the moment, as Chad Ross makes a huge dive the inside. Parks following him through. I almost wonder if Harrington got in the wall and Paris was just stuck behind him. As, yeah, it looks like Paris had to back out slightly again, not wanting to get involved in an accident with Harrington. So Fulton's going to take advantage. Harrington really pushing the issue on Parks here now. Thought better of it. Cooler heads prevail. As Fulton is going to make his way through as well. Jeremy Paris looking for some kind of opening to make this pass happen. We're going to go slightly up further front because it looks like Below is under fire from Parks. We haven't seen many people take on Below and win, but Parks is going to show us it can be done. As Parks that makes that move look nice and clean. It looks like Harrington is going to be falling back like a stone. Falling down to the bottom of a deep ravine. Not sure what went on there. Potential Darlington Stripe for him once again. As we saw a truck looked like they were going sideways. But no caution. Maybe able to keep it underneath him. Not sure exactly who that was. I saw a black truck. Might have been Fashionado. But able to keep it underneath him. Stephen Page, we saw way to the inside, able to keep it underneath him as well. Also going and getting a Darlington Stripe. Stahl trying to get around him. Mollahan making moves. Ooh, getting very close to hitting Fashionado up the butt. Able to keep that underneath him though and go underneath and make a nice clean pass. Fashionado looks like he almost hit the wall. Getting very close. As the current closest battle on track is going to be Anthony Cortina down in 20th position. At the moment, I believe, as I say that, we get it changed because Mollahan... Oh, never mind. As there looks like, yeah, Lewis got into the wall and Cortina's going to go right on by. So Harrington making his way around McKenny, jumping around all over the place I am, and I understand that, I apologize, but there's so much action, it's hard to keep track of 33 cars on the grid, as it's looking like Harrington has walked away with that one over McKenny. So, as we see, losing spots quite a bit, definitely backing up the corners a lot earlier than the other drivers are, looks like, for Harrington, which means he's able to get the power down just a little bit earlier as Mullahan tries something different underneath. Dargett not actually, Dargett able to keep it perfectly. Mullahan trying desperately to keep Fascinato, trying around the outside as they get, I think there was a slight touch there, but nothing coming from it, thankfully, as Mullahan stays in front of Fascinato. For that one, Harrington still under fire from McKenny as he made his way around. Only 2 laps ago, but already looking like those tyre-saving strategies might be coming to haunt him once again. Kenny looking very, very racy behind him as it looks like Mullahan was under fire from Fascinato once again. Oh no, Harrington hit the wall. Excuse me, Harrington hit the wall. And Dargett is going to take advantage as well as McKenny. Dargett sending it in deep into the inside line. Very deep. Wow, what a lunge. Able to make it work. No problems or woes at all. Mullahan trying to follow him through. Harrington almost coming down into Mullahan. That looked very close indeed. Fascinato's also going to try and make something happen as Stephen Page works his way up to the back of this group as well. Yeah, not sure if Harrington definitely not having the race he wanted, as he was, I believe, our pole sitter. He was, and yeah, just tyre-saving strategies at the moment. It could actually come back to be a perfect strategy later in the race. We'll have to wait and see. As we go back up front, it's been a little while. Chad Ross has made his way into first position. Eric Parks in second. And they have cleared Derek Fulton by about a second at this point, who is in third position. So definitely a 2-car battle for the lead at present. Lap 65 of 135. As Parks makes a huge lunge, I almost wonder if Ross just said, you know what? I can tell you've got some speed. You can take it. And Parks goes up. He is up 16 position at the moment. Talking about positions, we will definitely have to give a shout out to Chadwick S. Denton at the moment. Just under halfway through this race, up 23 spots. Going to do a highlight for him at a brief. Right now, we're going to look at him briefly as he is up 23 spots and in 7th position currently. So fantastic stuff for him to make his way into that group, as it looks like just in front of him, actually, Shane is trying to make his way around Paris. Now, we were going to go back up to the front, but I think we might watch this 3-car battle between below Paris and Shane, as this one is looking like it could turn out to be quite the spectacle, as Paris is wedged here, and Shane between Shane and below. As Paris goes slightly lower on the line, that's an interesting take. As Shane is thinking about, I guarantee he was thinking about trying something on the inside line, decided against it, and they might actually just fan out and stick to these positions at the moment. It looks like that's exactly what's happening. Jump back slightly, as it looks like Carter has really fallen off the pace. Sure must have had a bobble, maybe a little bit of a spin, lost several spots. Looks like he was able to get it redialed and able to come back at it, so at least that is good to see, as hopefully he can make his way back up near the top, as we've seen him in the top 10 most of the race, currently falling back to 14th. Go back up front, Eric Parks, Chad Ross just behind. Parks going to have to deal with some lap traffic. It looks like that is going to move out of the way. No problems though, so good work from William Price there, moving out of the way for your race leader. Eric Parks absolutely storming through the field, through the lap traffic. Lap traffic being incredibly attentive to what is going on around them and allowing Parks to make his way through without any issues. So kudos to all drivers, definitely has to be said. As Fulton has gained a whole bunch of spots, tyre saving seems to have been his prerogative, and he is making it work, as he's looking like he's going to try and make the move on Chad Ross for that second spot soon. He is the only Toyota in the top 17 positions sitting in third, so there's see lap traffic diving to the inside once again. As Ross saw Fulton streaming into his rearview mirror and decided to turn it up a notch just to keep Fulton at bay. And they've both, I thought they were both caught up to Parks. The truck looks very similar. It is not, is it a lapped car? That'll be the lapped car of Craig Lewis. So Fulton still trying to reel in Ross, as Parks looks like he got held up a little bit by lap traffic, so he's going to fall slightly closer into Ross's wheelhouse. Not close enough to make a huge difference, but certainly close enough to make its point known, as that is Roger Hale just in front of Fulton, taking the high side as was instructed, unless stated otherwise, as he gets caught in getting the Darlington Stripe big time and almost takes Derek Fulton out with him. Thankfully doesn't. Just a little bit of a bobble from both drivers, just a tiny scrape, and we're able to see that continue forward. Great stuff not to get into an accident there. We'll look around at Dalton McKenney trying to attack Jeremy Paris here for 11th spot, as Paris went sideways there, and no, there's a car almost on its roof, as that was Harrington, was absolutely rocking it, grinding like a skateboard at a skate park. 2 wheels off the track over on the wall, and he's going to have some gearbox or engine related issues, as he looks like he is smoking down. So he's going to make that stick, and I cannot believe we didn't have a caution, but we did not. So we will keep this one green. And continue on. So there we transition to the leader, Eric Parks, going around Harrington once again. Horrible to see that happen to Harrington, as we saw him obviously pole sitter, as well as having quite a lot of pace in the early goings of each run. So not what we want to see. 3 wide at Darlington just does not work. And we saw a great example of that just then, as Parks has managed to make a 2-second gap all the way back to Chad Ross. I'm going to zoom out a bit, see if you can have a see where Chad Ross is. So there's Eric Parks, And there's Chad Ross. There's the gap. 2.1 seconds. As Ross is going to be under fire from Fulton. So Fulton is coming through with a purpose once again. Ross gets stuck behind lap traffic. Lap traffic not sure exactly where he wants to go. Fulton loses the back end. Keeps it underneath him. That's unreal. How did he save that? Lightning reactions from the fast Canadian. Unreal save from Derek Fulton. In the bright pink Toyota Tundra. Unreal. And he's also managed to squeeze the gap to Ross. What is happening? The fast Canadian showing exactly why he is in the third place he is. As that is some unreal car control, and he looks like he's going to make his way around, almost. Thinks about it. Deciding not quite to do it now. As I'm sure he will be making the move at some point soon. There's a bit of smoke on the track. That could be from Harrington, as we saw him have some smoking problems before. No fast repairs, so it's going to be quite a long trip to pit road for him. As Fulton and Ross still your battle for second place. We might actually jump on board with one of these drivers. I think I have... Yep. We might actually... Yep, and as we say that, there it is. Ross moves over, gives the spock to Fulton. And Fulton, I'm sure, decides, hey, I'll take that. No worries. So, that's going to change up the standings for the starting three. We're going to rock around with Eric Parks for 1 or 2 laps, and you'll get a feel for just what the drivers deal with around this Darlington Raceway. Interesting shift down there for Eric Parks. Not sure if that was intended or just a little bit of a mistake due to lack of concentration from driving around for quite a while now, as this has been quite a long green flag run up at this point. I believe 36, 37 laps, as you watched a lap around there around from 3 and 4 all the way back to the start line the next time around. And yeah, didn't gear down to third gear the first lap we watched it, but on the second lap we watched he did, so maybe deciding that the truck is just getting low enough. We heard it rev very high when he shifted down, so maybe it's getting to the point where it's just coming into play, the third gear as an option. Corey Stahl looking like he's coming in under green. That's an interesting play, as he's coming in from 11th position. So coming in under green, obviously expecting it to be a long green flag run. Chad Ross follows him through as well from the 3rd position. He's going to give that one up as he comes down. We saw him losing out to Fulton big time. I believe those tyres are done. And a smattering of other drivers following him down. Eric Parks looking like he's coming down as well. Here he comes, our current race leader. I say current, is going to get overtaken by Fulton as he comes down pit road now. But he was leading the race before he decided to make that trip onto pit road. as we follow Derek Fulton, who will take over your race lead, and it looks like he's going to stay out at least 1 or 2 more laps. So definitely some strategy coming into play. Most trucks pitted last. Fulton pitted last on lap 49. So that will be an exact 40-lap run at the moment on this set of tyres. I'm sure they are screaming for some support and some relief, but they're not going to get it from Fulton. Oh, they are now, as Fulton is going to make his way down pit road. Green flag stops are certainly underway. No, he has to lock it up and spins around due to lap traffic on pit lane. Oh, that's an unfortunate series of circumstances to be absolutely certain. That was not what you wanted to see. That was Michael Brisson trying to get it slowed down, doing a good job, but Fulton not expecting him to slow down just that much as he spun around slightly. But it's on pit road. No cars were involved, no trucks were involved, so we're going to keep this one under green still, as Adam Shane is going to take over your race lead at the moment, and he's coming down pit road, which will hand it back to Eric Parks. You see the chaos as trucks try to make their way out from pit lane. Still showing as Adam Shane is leading, but it won't be for long, as there it is. Eric Parks just going past now, and he will take over that spot. So Parks pitting lap 87, Ross behind lap 86 a little bit earlier. Derek Fulton staying out to lap 89. Chadwick S. Denton, we talked about him before, moving up a lot of positions, up 26 spots, in 4th place at the moment. He last pitted lap 86. So he's almost on par with his leaders. Oh, looks like that is going to be Fascinato. Just a little bit of smoke coming off those rears. I wonder if he's getting very low. When did Fascinato last pit? No, lap 78. So unless he's burned them up very, very quickly, maybe just getting a little bit of a bobble. Not quite able to hang it in there, but we are going to go... going to try and find what the closest battle is, and that is going to be... well, it was going to be Kenneth McCullough Jr., but he has decided to come down pit road. I believe the time before this was lap 51 or so, so he is off sync with pretty much every other driver. Off sync by about 5 laps from Derek Fulton at least. So trying something different. Might not believe he has the speed to compete, so different strategy. We always like to see a different strategy. If it plays out, you never know. Could be absolutely fantastic. So great stuff to see as Eric Parks continues to make his way around the field without any issues. So Parks, Ross, Fulton, Denton below your top 5 at the moment. Everyone has either a net gain of positions, staying where they are in the case of Fulton, or John below falling down 1 spot after starting in 4th. At where it currently stands, we've seen below have tons of speed in the past though. So we'll see what he can do. Unfortunately, big gaps to all of the drivers. Parks is a full 4-second gap ahead of Chad Ross. So Parks putting on a clinic here. As you can see, some of the lap cars pitting a bit later than all the other ones. They'll have a little bit fresher tyres. So going to be a bit interesting and a bit of a struggle for these leading trucks to allow slightly faster traffic past them, but not wanting to see the rear bumper at all of lap traffic either. So definitely an odd position to be in as a leader, but one that you have to just put up and deal with. As our closest battle at the moment is going to be Daggett. Daggett coming across Shane just in front of the 9. So the 9, that is not for position. So that's going to go around Roger Hale. And that next car in front of him, the next truck, is going to be Shane. That is going to be for position. That's going to be for your 8th spot. As the battle gets underway. And we have a bit of a blip as our internet struggles to keep up with the amount of action going on track. As hopefully that doesn't exacerbate itself and get any worse, and I apologize to all those watching at home. As it looks like Shane is having a little bit of a bobble there, and Daggett is catching up quite quickly. Shane trying to use the draft of that lapped car, able to get around. Daggett following him through, being in the great spot, but almost drifts up into lap traffic, so lucky not to do so, of Anthony Cortina. And Christopher Carter really trying to also catch up to this battle. But he's actually going to be a fair way down. As Shane looks like he hit the wall, getting himself another Darlington Stripe. As Daggett makes his way through for the 8th position. And I didn't see this unfolding anytime soon, but here we go. Fulton has caught up to Chad Ross. Intense battle, as they are less than 0.2 of a second from each other. As Ross is going to let Fulton have it, maybe? Yes, it looks like he will. Different tyre strategy. Ross knows that Fulton is on about 3 or 4 lap fresher tyres than he is. So Ross letting Fulton go, deciding better to be in a nice 3rd position than get anything unfortunate happen to his truck. And we have a caution come out, sending a spanner in the works. It's going to be Striker. Now, he is quite a bit slower than the other trucks on track at that moment. And oh no, it's going to send him around. Thankfully, the 17 not getting too much involved, which is actually a fantastic job from Denton there. As he has a bit of a self-spin, but it's right in the middle of the track, right in the middle of the raceway for quite a long while. So, unsurprisingly, caution does come out for that one. Fantastic work by Denton to not get turned around there. Go back and look at that once more. Get involved in anything major. As he tries to go on the high side and squeeze by. Striker just loses it. A bit of netcode gets involved. I'm not the only one with some internet problems, it seems, as Striker gets turned around and Denton lucky enough to avoid anything major happening there. As we see trucks coming down pit road, getting some tires, getting some fuel. As we saw Parks, Ross, there's Fulton coming out now, followed by a smattering of cars. As these trucks make their way back out to the Raceway. So every single driver that wasn't being waved around has come down pit road. All tires are now equal if they took any, which it looks like most drivers did. I believe Fulton took 4. Parks might have only taken 2. Ross looks like he might have only taken 2. Page, Molahan also 2, but 4 from the grid, potentially behind them. If not just fuel, but definitely enough to make it to the end. As pretty much every driver has made 5 stops this race. On our 4th caution, we are going to be led by Eric Parks round the track, followed by Chad Ross in 2nd position. Right next to him, Derek Fulton in 3rd, Stephen Page in 4th, John Molahan in 5th, and John Below is going to be in your 6th position. Or so it says. I believe I read that out right, but I'm going to read it again just in case. Eric Parks starting out front in your first row with Chad Ross beside Derek Fulton, Stephen Page in 3rd and 4th, John Molahan and John Below in 5th and 6th in your 3rd row. Just to make certain we didn't miss anyone. As we get ready, the pace car makes the always entertaining, incredibly sharp, almost impossible left turn into pit road, and we are going to get ready to get this one underway. Once again, Parks gets a big run. There's an accident already happening. Molahan goes round 4 wide, 3 wide, 2 wide, every wide. As they're going to keep it rolling, it's going to stay green, which is quite amazing to see once again. Not wanting to throw out too many yellows, and I admire these drivers for that. As Fulton looks to the inside of Parks, Fulton is trying something else. So we saw Parks with a huge lead towards the later stages, so potentially a long-run car, but we've seen Fulton have a bit of a long-run car as well, so this could certainly come down to the wire between these two drivers, which should be quite fascinating to see, as Fulton is able to make a small amount of gap towards the front there ahead of Parks. We saw a truck going a little bit wide further back as Stephen Page gets just undercut really by Below. Below just knows exactly where he wants to chuck his truck and just sends it in deep and always seems to make it stick. So absolutely fascinating to see what he is able to do constantly on a weekly basis, really. That number 9 machine, as he's now putting Ross under fire. Chad Ross, Eric Parks, and Derek Fulton, 3rd to 1st, have been your top 3 for a little while now over that long green flag run. And I guess it doesn't surprise, even though Below seems to have about the same, if not slightly more speed on the short runs. He does seem to be wearing out those tyres quite quickly, as we have still 26 laps to go in this one. 25 as we come to the line out of 4. So Not sure those tyres will last. I certainly hope they do, as he's putting on a show. Looks like he gets into the back of Ross there, just giving him a friendly bump. Ross giving the spot away to Below, so Below's going to go through into third position at the moment. And it looks like there's a big battle for some lap down cars back here, as we see 1, 2, 3, 4 all in a line, very, very close together. It's going to be Craig Lewis just in front of him, James Kaufman just in front of him, Anthony Cortina, and just behind Craig Lewis is going to be Kenneth McCullough Jr. As we see Cortina get into the wall, and the other drivers are going to take advantage and gain those spots. Go back up front. It looks like Corey Stahl was under fire from Adam Shane for a second there. Shane slipping back a little bit throughout the 1 and 2 turns. As there's a truck on the low side there. Not sure who that is, but I'm going to assume that they were a lap down car or truck, as it doesn't seem to be affecting the standings as they are at the moment for the lead lap traffic. So we will continue with the ball rolling here. No yellow flag. That's what we like to see, as Fulton is on a clinic and is over a second ahead of Parks now, which is quite a feat to behold, considering how far ahead Parks was able to make his truck earlier on. I almost wonder if the Ford and the Toyota have a little bit more staying power than the Chevrolet, but I cannot be certain, as Below is going to certainly prove that, if nothing else, if he doesn't, then certainly the Chevy has a lot of get up and go in the early goings. Can't be any doubt about that. As we're going to go back slightly to this huge pack behind the leaders, as for 6th, 5th, and 7th. Sorry, 4th, 5th, and 6th is going to be Chad Ross, Stephen Page, and Chadwick Denton. We are looking at Denton at the moment. Still up 24 spots, so done an amazing job here, Denton has. As Stephen Page just ahead, under fire. 21 laps to go. We will see if Denton can make anything happen. I'm sure he desperately wants to, as a top 5 would be huge for Chadwick Denton. As you can see, Darlington Stripe already formed on the inside of that truck, which I guess is not technically a Darlington Stripe, because the Darlington Stripe's on the high side, but we'll forgive it as he sends it in slightly deeper than Page. And Ross, Ross has fallen back quite a bit under fire from Stephen Page. Almost had a bit of a who's who moment, forgot who the drivers were, but we came back to it, it's all good. Stephen Page trying to make his way up to Chad Ross. Chad Ross looks like, as soon as I mentioned him, seemed like he decided, oh yeah, I am in 4th place, and so I'm going to start put the power down just a little bit more. As Stephen Page just not quite able to make that gap any closer, as it sits around the 3/10 mark between all 3 of these drivers. 3/10 from Ross to Page, 3/10 from Page to Denton. And this is the closest battle on track at the moment, so we will stick with it. As Ross came down, they all came down to filter them out, that's right, because we were thinking that Ross was still on that old tyre strategy of having a little bit old tyres than the rest of the field, but all these trucks came down at the same time. After that last caution. 16 laps to go. We are winding down the clock here, as Chad Ross is still having a whole heap of pressure from Stephen Page. Now down to just under 2/10. So Page trying something. Looks like, no, I thought it was a little bit of a bobble, but Might have just been some bumps in the high side there. Darlington being the old, beautiful surface that it is, it's not exactly the smoothest. And there's quite a lot of bumps that these drivers have had to deal with throughout this entire race. Quite a lot of nuances as well. It's quite a tricky circuit. I'm sure you don't get the feel for it from up in the spectator area, but I can assure you it's quite the challenge around the Darlington Raceway. As we see Carter's, not Carter, sorry, Denton is really sending it in deep and trying to make something happen onto the, really sending it into the inside of the corner at the start. So very, very fascinating indeed as he tries something different, and he's trying something different again now. Looks like he backed it up a little bit more to try and get a run off, and it will pay off as Stephen Page gets into the wall just ahead of him. So Denton is going to take that position away, and he makes his way into 5th place. So it is Toyota, Ford, Chevrolet, your first 3, as Fulton, Parks, and Below are in 1, 2, and 3. As I say that, Parks and Below is going to make it happen. We always see Below make it happen, and here he goes again. The aggressive driving style, but also clean, as we see just going very close up into Parks, but not anything doing. Parks not getting intimidated by Below at all, and holding it down. So Below might start having some tyre fall off coming here ever so slightly, which will not be what he wants to see, as that will allow Parks to stay in that 2nd position, as Parks has probably slowed down the pace enough to the point where his tyres will be a little bit fresher than Below's will be. As they come across some lap traffic. Certainly could play a role in this one. Lap traffic very smartly getting out of the way. And as we see the gap widen, so I almost think that, yeah, I believe that tyres have played a role. Below was just desperate to get that 2nd spot, so just pushed a little bit harder than that truck was wanting to do. And so it looks like he might be falling off the pace ever so slightly. Last time by was 0.2 slower than Eric Parks. As lap traffic is still going to be in the way, but they are getting out of the way very well, so definitely can't fault them for that. As we go back up front with Derek Fulton, and he's going to be 3.5 seconds ahead of Eric Parks. So absolutely putting on a show. There's no other words I can say, really. I mean, he is able to just make that thing fly. I guess I could say he's on rails. That's another one I like to use. It really does seem like it. Consistency is key, as they say. And still getting the fastest laps of the entire grid over and over. So, big lead to Fulton. As we'll have a look and see just what that gap looks like now that it's almost 4 seconds. So there's Fulton coming across the line, and there is Parks now. So that's quite a significant gap when you think about the size of this oval. As it looks like Stephen Page is still trying to have something for Ross, but just can't quite get the pace he needs out of that Chevrolet. Ross, of course, in a Chevrolet as well, but Page he's trying very hard to do something just slightly different to Ross in front, but as you can see, it just goes a little bit higher, a little bit wider on the exit, so trying something, and did actually gain about 1.5 tenths there. So with 6 laps winding down, will Stephen Page be able to catch Chad Ross for 4th place? That's the big question on my mind, as lap traffic gets out of the way again. These drivers also very, very clean. Very consistent, very respectful of all the other trucks around the field, so certainly can't say anything bad about their ethics. As we are 5 laps to go, Page is clawing away. Ross has been able to extend that gap by a little bit extra. Christopher Carter seemed like he caught up slightly to Stephen Page. That's him just behind. There he is. And that truck behind him is not for position. And I believe that's going to be Dalton McKenny. Yes, it is. So McKenny probably not wanting to get involved, even though he looked like he had the pace to the point where he could have. Carter getting a little bit loose on the high side there, as Stephen Page and Chad Ross are bunching up. This could be quite interesting with 3 laps to go. Ross might be feeling the tyres a bit, not wanting to have any issues. Stephen Page getting closer and closer and closer. Less than 2 tenths now. As he's catching and catching. Ross desperately holding on to it. You can see a little bit of looseness starting to edge its way into the battle here as Ross gets sideways a little bit with the rear of that truck. The wheelbase on these trucks so long that if you lose it, it's very hard to recover and much easier to lose it in the first place. A lot of weight in these trucks as well, so when it does step out, it just keeps going. Stephen Page is trying, but I'm not sure he'll be able to make it. As we will have the final lap, the white flag comes out for Derek Fulton. There he is into turn 1, coming down into turn 2. From down low, up high to down low once again. Lap traffic still there. He can afford to just chill behind the lap traffic, which it looks like he's going to do. 4.5 second gap. Absolutely huge victory for Derek Fulton as he comes by and takes home the opening race of segment 3 in the FEG PC NASCAR Oval Series, followed by Eric Parks, John Below, and Chad Ross. As we wanted to watch, looks like he's able to hold on to it with Stephen Page only 2 tenths behind. Fantastic stuff from all these drivers. And great racing all around. As there's a bit of a love tap from the drivers, it looks like they are celebratory in every single way as we see Fulton burn it down. Great stuff from all these drivers. We absolutely love to see it, and we thank you for tuning in to our Darlington broadcast. I've almost lost my voice. Fantastic racing. And Fulton is taking no prisoners with his tyres. They are certainly feeling the strain. I am certain of that. So we will get our interviews underway as we will pull up here John Below in 3rd position. John Below, got a copy? John Below, are you there?
I can hear you.
Hey, welcome to the broadcast booth. How did you feel about that one? That was quite the event.
Not very good, man. Look, I know we third place is a good, position here, but kind of got behind on strategy and really got out of clean air. I needed to be in clean air the entire time. That was king, worth at least 2 tenths.
All right, well, we saw you get in clean air a little bit, but yeah, it's certainly your pace was just unreal. Was there any particular like I guess strategy in terms of were you just sending it in deep and hoping for the best or
No, when we took tires early, it kind of shot us in the foot that we had a caution and got us behind. We were pretty good there if we could have stayed green, but it just didn't play out. It's just the way it works, The two guys in front of me had better strategy all night, and it played out like that. And hell, I burnt my stuff up trying to catch Eric and try to catch Derek, which he had good pace too. Y'all are cutting him a little short. He probably had the best long run tonight.
yeah, it certainly looked like it as the drivers in front of you were able to hold it down and keep their tires underneath them, but certainly nothing to sneeze at. A third place. Who would you like to give a shout out to? Friends, sponsors, family for cheering you on in this one.
Oh, I gotta thank everybody. Over at Reaper Speed Lab, Chris Hill, Boyd Hogan, all of them. They do a great job. They help me a lot on the open side. Gotta thank Jeremy for at least trying to give me his tires. It wasn't allowed to because he got disqualified, but he at least tried. We'll give him that. I gotta thank Jeff for putting it on. Thank really all the guys that did race this race as clean as they could. It was an endurance. I mean, restarts were tougher than running the actual track. I didn't realize the tire spin was that bad. I about made a big mistake early, but yeah, I appreciate you guys for putting on a show.
We appreciate you for putting on a show. It was absolutely amazing to watch you work your way through the field with the amount of pace you did have. Unfortunately, those tires just didn't last for you. So, thank you very much for putting on a show, John, and hopefully we'll see you in victory lane sometime soon.
Yes, sir. Good win, Derek. Good run, Eric.
All right, that was John Below. Next up, we have Eric Parks. Eric Parks in second. You got a copy.
Yes, sir.
So, how are you feeling after that one? I've got to say that looked like it was in your wheelhouse, and then unfortunately, it just kind of, I guess, ran away from you with just the way that Fulton was able to get out of the of pit road just a little bit quicker, or able to get the jump, or
Yeah, I'd used up. I only had two tires left for that last stop. That last caution killed me. I had a good run going, but I knew them four tires. I didn't even think I could hold Blue off. It's a miracle I done that probably.
yeah, we saw Baloo catching you very, very quickly, but unable to keep it underneath him because he just burnt up his tires quite quickly. So unfortunate to see that for him, but I'm sure you're chuffed with it. I mean, we saw you pull out a huge, I think 3 second gap at one stage, and then the caution came out and it just didn't fall in your lap.
Yeah, we had a good run going there to that last caution, and I knew I was probably in trouble with only two tires left. But hey, I'm telling you, I think you're bringing me good luck. Every time you're here, we're making it to the booth.
I appreciate that, and maybe if I turn up again, maybe you will be in victory lane next time.
I like James, but we may just have to keep him kicked out.
That's I try to put on the best show, but James certainly is the master, and he's been teaching me and helping me get better. But um, this is all about you anyway. It's not about me. So fantastic stuff all around. And who would you like to give a shout out to for the second place? Definitely nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, I want to thank the Lord above and thank my family and thank Team Three. I think we had a good, strong show and maybe about five of us in the top 10 tonight. So had a good run going there. And thank y'all, of course, for doing such a good job on this broadcast and Jeff for putting them on.
All right, thank you very much, Eric. It's great to talk to you, and we will see you in victory lane. I have no doubt about that sometime soon.
I appreciate it, buddy. You take care.
All right, and in first position, the man of the hour, Derek Fulton. Welcome, my friend. How do you feel?
Well, I mean, sometimes you do everything right and it doesn't work out, and sometimes you do everything wrong and it just somehow falls in your lap. And I really feel for Eric and John. Those guys, I think, had me beat tonight. They were quicker, but I just had. Luckily, I had an extra set of tires once that caution came out, so the timing just kind of fell right in my lap, and I was shocked once we got out into clean air how different the car was handling, and then got the rotation I needed to keep the car moving, and I was shocked tonight because I feel like I did a lot of things to to throw it away. I might have had a top three car, but had a lot of damage and actually spun out coming in on the green flag pit stop and everything. So I was shocked that I even still had a shot at it. And I mean, sometimes they work out for you, sometimes they don't. And this one just fell into my lap.
So you said you can do everything wrong. Do you want to walk us through that? Because from my perspective, it looked like you did everything right, but maybe we saw something a little bit differently to how you were feeling in the truck.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I still executed well with what we had, but I mean, I'm not one to usually hit the wall and stuff like that, and try to keep the truck clean. Obviously, this is a track that it's a little bit different, obviously with the Darlington Stripe, but I think I got my stripe on lap 5 or something, and honestly, I think after on the long run, I think it was actually starting to help the car rotate in the middle of the corner, having that extra bit of downforce. So I'm not sure if that's what the case was, but um, I mean, Chad and Eric, those guys had me pretty much in check until that last run. And once I got the second set of tires on the left side, it was just all the difference in the world.
All right. Well, I don't know if I should say much more. I'm sure you want to celebrate this win. So, who would you like to give a shout out to before you open up a cold one?
Definitely a huge shout out to my mom. She's going through the breast cancer stuff. So just prayers with her, and, just that it's on the mind right now. And besides that, just the guys that get me going through Road to Pro, be Premier Racing Setups. You can get a setup over there using code Fulton15 for 15% off. And Octorap, those guys are, well, that's my side gig. So that was anybody needs a wrap, don't be afraid to reach out.
I'm sure you'll get some more business coming your way after this win for sure. And we'd like to also give our thoughts and prayers to Miss Fulton, and I'm sure she'll be recovering shortly. I certainly hope so.
Fingers crossed. We're just gonna keep chasing those checkers until then. It keeps the mind occupied, right?
Fantastic stuff. Love to hear the energy. All positivity. That's all what we want, and that's what everyone needs. So fantastic stuff. And once again, go celebrate this win.
Thanks, Gareth, man. I really appreciate it, and hell of a job in the booth tonight.
Thank you very much. All right, that was Derek Fulton, your winner this evening for the FEG PC NASCAR Oval Series. And we will bring up the results for you now, if they please work with me. All right, once again, it's not working with me. Oh, hang on, I can bring that up. Aha! I can bring up the tower. Perfect. All right, we have Derek Fulton in first. As we said, Eric Parks in second, John Below in third, Chad Ross in fourth, Stephen Page in fifth, Christopher Carter in sixth, Corey Stahl in seventh, eighth, we have Jay Dargett, ninth, Adam Shane, 10th, John Mollahan, 11th, Chadwick Denton, 12th, Kenneth McCullough Jr. 13th was Craig Lewis. In 14th, Anthony Cortina. 15th was James Kaufman. 16th, Dalton McKenney. 17th, Rylan Fascinato. 18th, Dennis Black. 19th, Michael Brisson. 20th, Chris Davis. 21st, Jeffrey Radke. 22nd, David Stryker. 23rd, Roger Hale. 24th, Wally Babb. 25th, Shane P. Davis. 26th, Jeremy Paris. 27th, William K. Price. 28th, Joe Coburn. 29th, Jeremy Harrington. 30th, Eddie Hawke. 31st, Jordan Darnell. 32nd, Michael McFadden. And 33rd, Brian Reek. So that is a huge grid, and I am incredibly proud of all these drivers and incredibly thankful for them to allow me to broadcast their race tonight and be involved in what was a thrilling encounter. We will see you all again sometime soon, I am sure. Same time, same place next week. Whether I'm in the broadcast booth or someone else is, we look forward to having you, and we will see you then. Take care and good night.